Hey, how you doing? This is Tiffany Tyson. This is Mastering the Bible. I have a plan to read through the entire Bible, and I am taking you on the journey with me. Why? Because how can we call ourselves Christians if we have not read the Christian text, right? All the way through, not just heard excerpts from it that the pastor gives on Sundays. And so, in an effort to do what God has called me to do and be a teacher, I just decided, hey, let's just go through it together, knock it out, and get it done. So I've already done, this is Genesis chapter 4, I believe. And I've already done videos for Genesis 1, 2, and 3. Those are scattered between Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Revelation Knowledge, Rev Knowledge on Instagram, Revelation Knowledge Inc. on Facebook. So thank you for going on this journey with me. I'm just reading the word, and then I am giving a little commentary as I feel led by the Spirit. So Genesis chapter 4 starts off with Cain and Abel. So now Adam had sexual relations. That's funny. It didn't mention anything about sexual relations or children before the fall. But now we have sexual relations with his wife. I wonder if that's in the King James Version, if she was called his wife. Let me look at that. It says that, but a lot of times when I do my Bible study, I also use another Bible app that gives you the Greek and Hebrew translations, so I can see what was in the original text. So I'm not sure, but in the King James Version, it also says wife for Genesis 4, chapter 1. So Adam had sexual relations with his wife Eve, and she became pregnant. When she gave birth to Cain, she said, "With the Lord's help, I have produced a man." Look at Eve. She messed up, and she has suffered the consequences of her mess up with sin on the cross, and now she is including the Lord in praising the Lord for what he has done instead of taking it for granted. And I think that's something that we all learn as we go through life, and that's why I'm learning to also kind of let go of some of the things, children, work, some of the things that I once held close and tried to micromanage and all that kind of stuff. But you have to allow people and situations to run their course, and to accept that God is working for your good. You don't need to doubt him or check up on him and try to do your own thing. Just let him be who he is. Let him be God. And whatever the situation is, just trust that he's going to work it out for your good. So now she is understanding that. Now that she's had to go through the pain of childbirth and being kicked out the garden and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it takes that, and that's okay. So now she's giving thanks to the Lord. She says she has produced a man with God's help, with the Lord's help. Later she gave birth to his brother and named him Abel. When they grew up, Abel became a shepherd while Cain cultivated the ground. When it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of his crops as a gift to the Lord. So Cain was making an offering to the Lord. Abel also brought a gift, the best portions of the firstborn lambs from his flock. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. Dejected. I'm sure that's about the same thing as rejected, right? Without doing a definition search. So let's look at that. They had two different occupations, and they're two different people, and it says that Cain and his gift was not accepted, and he became rejected. Okay. We're looking at the emotions. He became angry and looked dejected. Why are you so angry? God love to ask questions. We see that. God is not, he wants you to experience something, or he wants you to be aware of what you're experiencing. Right? He didn't just tell him, because of course God knows, right? God knows why Cain is angry. But God wants you to know, okay? God knows why you should trust him and serve him, but he wants you to know that. And so sometimes that takes some experiences, right? Because like we talked about in chapter 3, sometimes you can have a good thing and not realize it and take it for granted, right? So he, like when he called Adam, he said, "Where are you, Adam?" He knows this, but he wants you to know. He wants you to figure out where you are. He wants you to understand why you're angry, so that you can examine yourself. That's what it says with the when you're taking the communion, to examine yourself, so that you don't fall under judgment, right? So if you don't understand what's wrong with you, then you're already judged. If you don't understand what the problem is, then you're doomed to repeat the cycle, right? So here he is asking Cain, why are you angry? The Lord asked Cain, why do you look so dejected? Look at what God say. God is so awesome. He said, you will be accepted if you do what is right. You will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. But you must subdue it and be its master. See, this is one of the quintessential problems, the main problems with people, some people, right? I have talked to people about the gospel, and it shocked me. I know one person for sure just said, "Hey, I just want to do what I want to do. You know, I'm not saying God ain't real. Matter of fact, I believe he probably is real. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because I just want to do what I want to do." And so they have been taken over by their lust, taken over by their sin, and given over to a reprobate mind where they can't even understand that 10 minutes of passion is not worth an eternity in hell. But, you know, those are the tricks that sin plays on us, right? The deception. So he's feeling rejected. But God didn't just say, that's over for you, excuse me. God said you could still be accepted. Yeah, you done tripped out. You done got mad. You done got angry. You done, you know, your face all twisted up. But it's okay. Look at God. Always leading us back. Always reconciling us. That's what the word says, that he has the ministry of reconciliation, and that we are to have the ministry of reconciliation with others too. But look at this. He said, if you do right, you can reconcile with me, right? If you get yourself together, I'm not going to accept this, what you talking about right here. You know, I can't accept that. But there's still a chance for you to understand what's got you angry and what you need to do. So that reminds me, I was just thinking about what is he called? The prodigal son and the father. The prodigal son, he wanted to go and do what he wanted to do. At least he had sense enough not to sit up in his father's house when he knew that his father's standards were that was not that. So he knew that what he was doing was unacceptable, really shameful. So he took himself over there with his debauchery, right? And the father was wise enough to let him go and to trust God, that God was going to show him, was going to teach him the lesson that he needed to show him what was wrong, and to bring him back with a humble spirit, desiring to be with the Father and understanding that his own way was leading to nothing but destruction. So you got to let people go sometime and let them understand what the choices are making. There's a great book talking about boundaries, which I need to finish the whole thing, but it was talking about a lot of times we, especially as parents, because we don't set clear boundaries, we wind up basically enabling our children to not grow up, to not get the lessons that God has for them, because we keep stopping the process and getting them out of the consequences that would be what wakes them up and gets them to understand that this is not the way. So if you keep rescuing them, they haven't experienced the consequences that is going to lead them to the correct answer. So he said, but you must subdue sin and be its master. One day, Cain suggested to his brother, let's go out into the fields. Now, why did he take his anger? Look at this. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of it. Let's go out into the fields. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Abel didn't have nothing to do with what was going on between him and God. So because he was mad because he felt rejected by God, he lashed out at somebody who he thought was God's favorite, or, in right relationship with God. Now he wants to lash out. Looks like the enemy, how God uses people who I feel like, I guess, for whatever reason, that they are rejected by God. The enemy uses them to come against the people of God. So afterward, the Lord asked Cain, where's your brother? Where's Abel? I don't know. So now he a liar. He a murderer and a liar. First he was angry. Look at the progression. He was angry. Then he was dejected. Then he, instead of, when God gave him the opportunity to figure out what was wrong with him and gave him the olive branch that you can be accepted, all you got to do is get yourself together. But instead of doing that, he lashes out at his brother and becomes a murderer of innocent blood. And now he is a liar as well. So, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. This is showing me that you're still alive after you leave this physical plane. In the spiritual realm, you're still alive, that you're still speaking. So now he got cursed. So now he was cursed and banished. Look how he made it. He just kept compounding the problems, right? But that's how it is when you're hard-headed. So he's cursed and banished from the ground, which has swallowed his brother's blood. No longer will the ground yield good crops for you, no matter how hard you work. From now on, you will be a homeless wanderer on the earth. Cain replied to the Lord, my punishment is too great for me to bear. Look, he still wants some sympathy. No accountability. But I guess he's being honest on that, because it seems like a lot to me. You have banished me from the land and from your presence. Whew. You have made me a homeless wanderer. I have also heard it said that God is not putting people in hell. What it is that people who did not want to accept him are now just banished from his presence. So you don't have the presence of God, which equals hell. Because God is every good and perfect gift. He is love and light and all that. So the absence of that is darkness and void and gnashing of teeth, equal, i.e. hell. Anyone who finds me will kill me. See, he's still worried about himself. The Lord replied, no, for I will give a sevenfold punishment to anyone who kills you. Then the Lord put a mark on Cain to warn anyone who might try to kill him. So Cain left the Lord's presence and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. What does it say? Where is Nod? Nod means wandering. Just forever wandering. Forever a zombie. Never really learning the real meaning of life. Just going to and fro. No discernment. Just out here wandering around. No purpose. Okay. The descendants of Cain. Cain had sexual relations with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to Enoch. Then Cain found it. Look, so God still was, we say God reigned on the just and the unjust. So God still blessed Cain and gave him descendants. And I'm sure he had some joy, right? Some joy in his life. And here we still have people taking it for granted because they're still able to have some momentary joys in this life. They take it for granted and don't appreciate it and don't thank God for his provision. Then Cain founded a city which he named Enoch after his son. Enoch had a son named Irid. Oh, look at this. So this looks, this kind of, I don't know. So I need to find out and do my history. Where is Nod, and is that anywhere near Iraq? Right, because his son's name is Irad. Irad became the father of Mehujael. Mehujael became the father of Methuselah. Methuselah became the father of Lamech. Lamech married two women. The first was named Ada, and the second was Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal, who was the first of those who raised livestock and live in tents. So now we see his descendants are credited with being the first to raise livestock and live in tents. Herdsmen. His brother's name was Jubal, the first of all who played the harp and the flute. So God blessed his sons with firsts. Now, I don't know if this is related to when God said that the sons of earth came down and taught the men things, secrets. So they learned lives. So one of the sons did, not his son, but what would that be? That'd be like his great grandson. Cain founded a city named Enoch after his son. Enoch had a son named Irad. So I'm wondering, city of Enoch. I'm wondering if there's any reference out there to this city. Just bear with me. We're going to learn something today. City of Enoch in the Bible. Enoch built city of Zion, walks with God. Where is the biblical city of Enoch? Enoch and all who lived in Zion, his city, were so righteous that, I don't know, that's okay, that's a doctrine of the Church of Latter-day Saints. Oh, so they got a whole doctrine about the city of Enoch. It says there's something else. So I don't see any map or whatever. So I guess it's supposed to be unclear. But I think it did say, it said the city of Nod was east of Eden. It says that the Sumerians. Oh, look at that. So Enoch is in the Sumerian. We know that Samaritans, though, so now I'm wondering if the Samaritans in the Bible and the Sumerians, it sounds like, I'm sure they're probably related, which we know that they're saying that the Sumerians was like one of the first civilized ancient cities. But actually, I don't believe that's true, because when you look back in the Bible, before Samaria, there was Ethiopia, which is right across from where they're saying Sumeria was in modern day, like Iraq, Iran. So that's why it's so important that we have to begin to study for ourselves, because we know the enemy is a liar, and so we need to know for ourselves. So but it doesn't, I don't think it's not giving me anything that is pinpointing where the city of Enoch was. All right. All right. Okay. So that's enough of that. So the city then Cain founded a city, okay, which he named Enoch after his son. Enoch had a son named Irad. Irad became the father. Okay, we read all of that. Lamech married 2 women. Okay, so now here we have them getting into the 2 women situation, right? So he's the first one credited, the son of Cain, the great grandson of somebody, because Enoch, that's his son. Then his grandson is Irad, so his great grandson Mehuda. Then his great grandson. Then his great grandson is started off with the marrying 2 women. The first was Ada, the second was Zillah. Then, okay, so we already talked about that. So then they started with the raising livestock, living in tents, and playing music, play the harp and the flute. So then he had a son named Tubal Cain. He became an expert in making tools of bronze and iron. Tubal Cain had a sister named Naamah. One day Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Listen to me, you wives of Lamech. Look at him. Oh, he's a prideful man, huh? He out here making statements and everything. Listen to me. I have killed a man who attacks me. Okay. A young man who wounded me. I wonder if that means that he didn't actually have to kill him. He just killed him because the man attacked him. Maybe he didn't show any mercy, right? Maybe he could have just beat the man up without killing him because the man wounded him. Maybe it wasn't fatal, but because maybe he didn't have any restraint or mercy, and because he had pride, he just killed the man, right? So if someone who kills Cain is punished 7 times, then one who kills me will be punished 77 times. So look at how prideful he is. He think it's fun and games. Like, he didn't learn anything from the fact that his great grandfather was banished for being a murderer, right? And because of God's mercy, he took God's mercy. God had mercy on Cain so that he could still have some semblance of a life, and said that he would avenge his death. And so now his grandson is taking it all the way for granted and just thinking that now he got a free pass to go around murdering people and not being punished. All right. And marrying 2 wives. So he sounds prideful. So now we have the birth of Seth. So we switching stories back to Seth, because he done went all the way off his rocker. Tubal Cain. Right? So the birth of Seth, Adam had sexual relations with his wife again, and she gave birth. See, look, they trying again. God is so merciful. And they didn't give up on the promises. They didn't give up on having a life, having a productive life. You know, yes, the one son murdered. I mean, how terrible! Your son. You had two sons. One of them is a murderer, and the other one's dead, and he's banished and gone. So they start all over again and keep it moving and forget the past and keep going forward. So now she gave birth to another son. She named him Seth, for she said, God has granted me another son in place of Abel, whom Cain killed. God gave her another great son. Right? When Seth grew up, he had a son and named him Enosh. At that time, people first began to worship the Lord by name. Right? So God gave Eve another lineage, and it looks like this lineage began to worship God instead of boasting about murder and polygamy. This guy, and having no compassion and mercy, he gave her another child, and now the worship of God by name, a more intimate level of intimacy. After God shows you that it's not over, your story is not over, and even though things may have went astray, that He still has some greater things in store for you, and the intimacy grows after you come out the storm, because now you trust God more and more and more. You see his hand working in your life, and God is so good. So I want to thank you. That's the end of Genesis chapter 4. So I just want to thank you for tuning in, for watching. Please leave a comment, a thumbs up, a like if you are enjoying going through the Bible with me. I just say a quick prayer that everyone is blessed. I declare everyone that listens to this podcast blessed in the name of Jesus, with a special reserved blessing for those who desire to press in and be more intimate with God, who desire to know Him by name, to read the Bible and to know Him more intimately, to know His name, to know His ways, to know His heart. So, and to desire just to know Him and to be pleasing to Him. And so, thank you for watching. God bless you. Keep tuning in. This is Tiffany Tyson with Revelation Knowledge. We all the way up. No, just continue to be blessed. See you soon.